So, Dune, the 2021 version, has been out. It's been getting a lot of praise, it's been getting a lot of hype, but I've been wondering whether or not it deserves a lot of the hype it's getting in terms of the movie industry. I think, in my opinion, it's a little bit overrated. In fact, I had a friend. Can you say the words that you said when you described this movie?
Dune is the greatest movie that I've seen in the last 5 years.
Keep in mind, he said greatest movie, not sci-fi movie, not space opera.
I didn't stutter. My voice is clear and this microphone works. It's the best movie I've seen in the last 5 years.
I want to have a discussion with my friends with whether or not does this deserve the hype that it's getting. It being called the next Star Wars. It being compared to
Star
Lord of
Wars
the Rings.
is dead.
Yeah, let's get into this.
And we've all watched it twice, so we have ample knowledge here.
Star Wars came from Dune. If we're being
Star Wars
technical.
came from Dune. Yeah.
In theory, but
Dune was released first.
Well,
The book.
the books were released earlier. Yes, books-wise.
George Lucas.
But you have to understand, okay, so the reason why I'm having a hard time being it compared to like Star Wars or even Lord of the Rings is that, well, first of all, this is the first movie. But second of all, you have to understand that those movies to me are iconic. Like they did something that changed the medium of film. This movie has not done anything that has changed the medium of film so far.
Who's to say it won't?
I'm not saying it won't, but let's just say if we had one Star Wars episode, that alone would be iconic. Even if it wasn't as popular or whatever, that alone did something to try to change the medium.
I guess, but you have to think of the timing too. I mean, stuff like technology is like advancing so fast these days.
Yeah.
It's like, it is hard to just make stuff that's groundbreaking.
I agree,
but I do think maybe if not groundbreaking, it's influential because we're seeing now, like I said, a resurgence or like interest in sci-fi films now.
Well,
we're seeing a lot of stuff like get greenlit left and right because it's like, and even Marvel's going cosmic. I think it's still the right time for Dune to be made and made well, which it was.
Yeah, again, I'm not saying, as far as the movie itself, again, I'm never going to despair the movie. I think it's a good movie. I even went to watch the 1984 version just because of my curiosity of the whole movie. So it's an interesting movie. But when we're comparing it, again, when I think of Star Wars, when I think about Lord of the Rings, all those, and then it's being compared and then whatnot, I just feel like, as a film person who went to film school and majored all this stuff, I don't see, it didn't do anything that I would consider iconic. If anything, the only thing I could say, especially for sci-fi movies, because I would say it's a good space opera. That's my best way to say it, because for a while, since of the last recent Star Wars, we have not had a good space opera. So this so far has been the best space opera I've seen we got. But sci-fi wise, I do feel like there's been good sci-fis for the most part.
I think that it's interesting. This discussion is interesting because I've had my own personal experience, especially stuff that is considered iconic, like Star Wars. Star Wars has always been that thing in the background. Star Wars, Harry Potter, where it's I understand it, I get it. There's a lot to love in it, but I've never had that oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world for me personally. Yeah, because. For different reasons, but I always enjoy those movies. They're fun, but as far as my own, I'm the one who said this is the best movie I've seen in the last 5 years. For Dune, what appeals to me personally, individually, Dune hit a ton of those points in my experience. A lot of what I love. My favorite movies, one of the characteristics that they share is they're so huge in scope and scale. There's something big about them. And I get that, Star Wars is iconic because it changed the way that people view film, and it changed the way that people made film after that. But it could have easily. I think that we're too early on to kind of make those same judgments for Dune. I think it will take time for us to see whether or not something becomes iconic. Yeah. I don't know if honestly, none of us was around when Star Wars came out, so it's kind of hard to gauge whether what was happening back then is similar in any way to what's going on now.
It also takes time, like Dune has just come out. A movie doesn't become an icon like automatically. You know what I mean? It has to build that rapport. It has to build, these groups of support groups, I guess, people who are really into it. Not to say that Dune doesn't have it, but I think in terms of like.
Over time, they're just gonna keep accumulating fans.
Exactly.
More fans.
What are the qualifications for something that's iconic? It doesn't necessarily have to be like groundbreaking. I think if people are attached to the characters and they're really into this world and the world building, I think people will like it and it'll eventually become iconic. And I think this film does concentrate on like the world building. Like I know we talked about book versus movie. This movie definitely takes the time to build the world a little more than the book does, and like there's a lot of focus on politics, which I know like not everyone loves. If you compare it to like the first Star Wars film or like even Harry Potter, a lot of like we're kind of just like getting to know the characters and there's really fun like action sequences, whereas Dune, I feel like we have to be in it for the long run. It's a slow burn and it could turn into something iconic, and I sense that. Yeah,
it's interesting because the thing with Star Wars is that while like for all its greatness, it's a movie that at the time was made and geared towards a younger audience. Like it was made for kids. Same with Harry Potter. And I think that something like Dune, especially for us now at this point, at least for me, I can speak for myself, it appeals to that I don't want to sound like
mature audience.
Yeah, I don't want to sound pretentious. Okay, I don't want to sound pretentious.
Okay,
but I think it does.
Intellectual.
Okay, this is where I kind of defer with you, because if you saw the 1984 version, which came around the time during Star Wars, that one I would make the argument is like I would argue both of those movies feel like they appeal to the same demographic. It wasn't just like children for the first Star Wars movie. And same with the 1984 version of Dune. It seems like it was more like people who just like the average moviegoer, maybe like a family. You could say family orientated, I guess that's the best word, where it's not too gory, but at the same time there is like, death and whatnot you can see in those movies.
I don't necessarily think that the marker of whether or not it's marketed towards, adults versus kids is the violence. I think it's more the topics, because we talked about how this is a political drama. For the most part, there's not a ton of action in Dune. We have the big set piece with Arrakis, Arrakis being attacked, and then some other stuff.
I will say this version of Dune is more political than the one I saw. The one I saw, it is political. I mean, it's focused more. They're more on the action stuff like that. So,
but I mean, the main point was that you were making is it's overrated, it's overhyped, right?
I think it's overhyped for now to be considered like everyone making those conclusions like that, and then just like what I'm hearing of it. Because even as a movie, and again, this is all build up, so I understand where it's coming from. I still feel like there were certain things like, for example, I feel like the pacing was a little bit on the slower side, and I also feel like a lot of characters, they just seem to be, I don't want to call it static, but they were just okay accepting their fate. So it's like this movie does a lot of predictions, and a lot of the characters just seem like, well, we're gonna go with it.
Yeah, Jason Momoa's character. No.
It just seemed like that. So that doesn't mean it's not a good movie. I think it's a well put out movie, and again, I think in terms, if we're talking about space opera genre, because that genre seems to be dead. I mean, the last one I could say that was decent was you could say Guardians of the Galaxy, but even then that was kind of a joke. This one was a well done, well put out presentation, whatever. But that being said, like, just for it to be considered like, when people are making these comparisons too quick, that's why I'm like, whoa. Like, and again, the 5-year thing, which I get it, it's you're appealing, but I'm like, geez, you're saying that movies like The Joker and all these other stuff weren't that great or whatever.
No, I'm just saying that this is much better than The Joker.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I will have to say I agree with you in terms of pacing. Like, it seems slow but also fast at the same time. But in regards to like the hypiness or is it overhyped, I will have to say the cinematography, the score, like it was so well done. And there were, in terms of there were iconic scenes in there. And one that I wanted to point out is when Paul's father died or was about to die, and it was like a shot of like just him at the end of the table, and I forgot the guy's name.
Baron Harkonnen.
Yes, Harkonnen. He was like on the other end, and it was just such a great scene and really put in perspective how like small Paul's father is, like how he could just die like that, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of great details in the film, and there's a lot of moments where like I feel like the film challenges the audience, which is like maybe that raises the point of entry for like some people, right? And that's why I think it's not overrated, because I've seen like some polarizing reviews. I've seen people like critique it, and it's like stuff that I think is like fair. So that's why I'm like, I don't think it's overrated. I think it's rated fairly.
I mean, I guess it depends on the angles, because like, again, when you compare it, again, number one being compared to Star Wars and thing, that's a pretty high expectation. But number two, like again, I hear always new Dune news and all this stuff, and I'm not really like a Dune fan. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not against it. It's just that, again, when you bring those comparisons, that's where it's like, whoa, like we just got a first movie, bro. Like let's let it slide before we start saying, oh, it is, and it's all this stuff.
Yeah.
So
it was a very well done movie, though.
yeah, again, it's a well done movie. I no words gonna disagree. I'm not gonna disagree with that. Yeah. I just think it is a little overly. I think people are a little bit overly hyped.
All right, that's fair. So we have some.
It's the best thing that has happened.
Exactly. Right? I mean, again.
All right, guys. Well, as you can tell, we have some differing opinions here. One says it's not overhyped. One says maybe it is. But let us know your thoughts. Do you feel it's overhyped? How many times have you watched it? Are you a book reader? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Peace.
Later.